Those who believe that God is all that is and all that is not are those whose understanding is correct.
Feel free to skip the commentary using the chapters, and remember to check out the previous episodes for full context. You can find a link to the playlist in the description below. To be respectful of your time, let's get straight back into the book.
Do you understand this?
I think so. Keep going.
All right. The one thing that all that is knew is there was nothing else. And so it could and would never know itself from a reference point outside of itself. Such a point did not exist. Only one reference point existed, and that was the single place within the is not is, the am not am. Still, the all of everything chose to know itself experientially. This energy, this pure, unseen, unheard, unobserved, and therefore unknown by anyone else energy, chose to experience itself as the utter magnificence it was. In order to do this, it realized it would have to use a reference point within. It reasoned quite correctly that any portion of itself would necessarily have to be less than the whole, and that if it thus simply divided itself into portions, each portion, being less than the whole, could look back on the rest of itself and see magnificence. And so all that is divided itself, becoming in one glorious moment that which is this and that which is that. For the first time, this and that existed, quite apart from each other, and still both existed simultaneously, as did all that was neither. Thus, three elements suddenly existed: that which is here, that which is there, and that which is neither here nor there, but which must exist for here and there to exist. It is the nothing which holds the everything. It is the non-space which holds the space. It is the all which holds the parts. Can you understand this? Are you following this?
I think I am, actually. Believe it or not, you've used such a clear illustration that I think I'm actually understanding this.
I'm going to go further. Now, this nothing which holds the everything is what some people call God. Yet that is not accurate either, for it suggests that there is something God is not, namely everything that is not nothing. But I am all things, seen and unseen. So this description of me as the great unseen, the no thing, or the space between, an essentially Eastern mystical definition of God, is no more accurate than the essentially Western practical description of God as all that is seen. Those who believe that God is all that is and all that is not are those whose understanding is correct.
All that is and all that is not, that understanding is complete. The non-dual center paradox of both and perception. I want to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about paradox. You see, I've observed that whenever I encounter it, I've found a center point of universal law. You see, all paradox lies at the center of that specific expression of all. The specific point at which any expression is paradoxical and contradictory is visually represented by the middle location of the infinity symbol. When you encounter this, keep in mind the wisdom of balance and simply choose the direction of expression that you wish to experience. Both are true. Both are equal. The only question is which one feels right to your highest expression of self in the context of your current experience.
Now, in creating that which is here and that which is there, God made it possible for God to know itself. In the moment of this great explosion from within, God created relativity, the greatest gift God ever gave to itself. Thus, relationship is the greatest gift God ever gave to you, a point to be discussed in detail later. From the no thing, thus sprang the everything, a spiritual event entirely consistent, incidentally, with what your scientists call the Big Bang Theory. As the elements of all raced forth, time was created. For a thing was first here, then it was there, and the period it took to get from here to there was measurable. Just as the parts of itself which are seen began to define themselves relative to each other, so too did the parts which are unseen. God knew that for love to exist and to know itself as pure love, its exact opposite had to exist as well. So God voluntarily created the great polarity, the absolute opposite of love, everything that love is not, what is now called fear. In the moment fear existed, love could exist as a thing that could be experienced. It is this creation of duality between love and its opposite, which humans refer to in their various mythologies as the birth of evil, the fall of Adam, the rebellion of Satan, and so forth. Just as you have chosen to personify pure love as the character you call God, so have you chosen to personify abject fear as the character you call the devil. Some on earth have established rather elaborate mythologies around this event, complete with scenarios of battles and war, angelic soldiers and devilish warriors, the forces of good and evil, of light and dark. This mythology has been mankind's early attempt to understand and tell others in a way they could understand, a cosmic occurrence of which the human soul is deeply aware, but of which the mind can barely conceive. In rendering the universe as a divided version of itself, God produced from pure energy all that now exists, both seen and unseen. In other words, not only was the physical universe thus created, but the metaphysical universe as well, the part of God which forms the second half of the am, not am equation, also exploded into an infinite number of units smaller than the whole. These energy units you would call spirits. In some of your religious mythologies, it is stated that God the Father had many spirit children. This parallel to the human experiences of life multiplying itself seems to be the only way that people could be made to hold in reality the idea of the sudden appearance, the sudden existence of countless spirits in the kingdom of heaven. In this instance, your mythical tales and stories are not so far from ultimate reality, for the endless spirits comprising the totality of me are, in a cosmic sense, my offspring.
I and the Father are one. This book keeps amazing me with the amount of synergies I find from many different religions. I am a student of like almost all of them. Not perfectly, of course, but I just love the research. We are children of God, made in the image and likeness of the eternal divine creative force. And so too, all and everything around us is God stuff, co-created by us and the interaction with the infinite mind. Please excuse me if at any point you hear me mixing different scriptures and lines from the Kybalion, Bible, Buddhism, New Age, etc. I learn from the all, only guided through my inner intuition. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Make sure to find the playlist for this series in the description below. And if you liked this content, or just simply appreciate all the hard work I put into this, you can help me by liking and subscribing so you won't miss out on any future content and more people with your interests can find this content. I wish you an amazingly bright day, week, month, year. Life, we are we, and we are one. Hummy hum, brum hum.